Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends, the Maximum Series Spider-Man, the talk of the town in the community about this action figure. I am now recording this video after the next figure in the Maximum Series line has been revealed as being the Hulk. I've had this figure for a few days. Unfortunately, I just have not been able to get to the review until now. I got it on Friday. Shout out to Toy Snowman for sending this out my way to review for you guys. Unfortunately, though, they have since sold out. Make sure you're following me on Instagram for those in-stock alerts. When I knew this was in stock, I shared links across all my social channels. So make sure you guys are always following me on the different social channels as well as here on YouTube for all those heads up. But we're going to talk about Spider-Man. I had it at WonderCon with me. A bunch of people got to check it out and mess with it. They all really like it too, but whether you guys see the value of $49.99 in it or not is going to be up to you guys. Some people do, some people don't, and that's okay. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If you want to wait for sale, wait for the sale. It's completely up to you, and you know, no shade to anybody on how they feel about it. Like, that's completely fine, right? But I want to talk about the figure. We won't get into the price other than you make your own judgment on if you see the value, $49.99 value in the release or not. But let's talk about the figure and let's talk about the accessories. Looking at the box, you can see Maximum Series Spider-Man. We get some comic paneling stuff around it, which is really cool. I like that there. We get a huge shot of the figure there. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The Maximum Series Spider-Man. Okay, so I have the figure out of the package. I already started taking, I had like swapped some things out. I put like the Spider Sense, you know, effect piece on there, and then I had the web shield on his hand, and then I've already just kind of taken it off. But a lot of fun stuff going on with this figure for sure. And I think I had that backwards. Oh, it should have been on this way because the red would look better. Because it's only painted on one side. I should have known better. Anyway, really fun figure. This is by far the best Spider-Man figure that we've gotten. I think hands down, I think everybody will probably agree with that. Some folks may like the Renew Your Vow Spider-Man. That's still a really good figure, don't get me wrong, but this one is just, it's a whole lot better. It just is. The articulation is better, the joints feel better, it just moves a little bit better, and sculpt-wise, it's cool because we get some sculpted wrinkles in the suit as opposed to everything just being all smooth. It's just really good. So let's go ahead and zoom in for a closer look at the figure, and we'll take a closer look at each accessory. Okay, so here we have an up-close look at Spider-Man, and it just looks fantastic. I know some people, you know, thought the eye lenses were a little spaced apart, and they are a bit. I don't think it's terrible. It's better in hand, but I do see it for sure. Anyway, we get two head sculpts, so we get this one here. Let's pop. I haven't swapped out any of these heads on there yet. Is there an easier way to do it? Hey, I feel like that one did not want to come off as easily as it probably should have. Oh, those are tight fit on there. And then here we have these, this head sculpt right there, so you can see the lenses are a little bit shaped a little bit differently, and then the white is a little bit squinted down. So that looks good there. We also get an additional head sculpt, which is the Peter Parker head sculpt, and this one's going to be a funny one because people do not like this one, including myself. I think it looks very goofy. It's very comic specific, but even then it doesn't look very good. Like, it's accurate or whatever, sure, but nah, that ain't it. It's never gonna stay on the figure, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm gonna hurry up and take it off because I don't like the way it looks. So let's get that back on there. But those are the head sculpts that Spider-Man comes with. Let's look at the web accessories that he comes with. He's got this spider shield in here, which is good. It's done in this like pearlescent, like, I don't know, can you even call it a pearlescent translucent color? It's got a little, little metallic sheen to it, which is cool. It is basically like a translucent color in there. And then there's a little bit of a wash throughout this whole thing to kind of bring out the details of it, which is kind of cool. So you got that there. We have the dreaded C-clip. However, I will note that this C-clip is a little bit softer and can kind of bend a little bit better. So it's not as brittle or as hard plastic as like Captain America shields. So I have no concern about this breaking. Well, I don't want to say I don't have any concern. I do have a concern, but it seems to hold up and be a little bit more flexible than the Captain America shields, thank goodness. So we got that there. We get this web effect piece here, and this is really good. It's done in that same translucent plastic. There's no wash paint on here, though. But I do think it looks really good. So I like that there. You get this this splurge web effect piece here. It's cool. It's just like the really thick web piece, and you get this stand that can kind of go along with it and hold it in place. There's just a little peg hole right up underneath there. And then you have this stand that could do it. This stand really reminds me of like the Jada Toys Street Fighter figure stands, that the stands they come with for the effect pieces. It's almost identical. The same basic design. Obviously, it's not completely the same, but same basic design. So we got that web there. We get 2 new web lines. So the web lines that we had gotten in the past always had like a triangle handle piece, which was always kind of weird. But here, like, look at this end piece. You could see that how that web line end piece goes there. And then here on this end, you also just kind of get a thicker spot so he can grip it nicely, or you could grip this end however you kind of want to do it. But these web lines are super flexible. There's no bendy wire at all or anything in there, but super flexible and sculpted well and looks good. You get 2 of them, by the way, so they are the same. We get 2 of them there, which is really cool. Additional accessories that we come with, we got the spider sense effect piece that goes on top of his head. It's just held on like by friction, so you just put it on there and it holds in place, so you could kind of see, you know, obviously the translucent plastic. So depending on the background, maybe it'll hide a little bit, but I like the way it looks. Hopefully you don't get glare like that. Obviously it's, you know, it doesn't look good, but when there's no glare, it does have a much better look to it, so that is really cool there. I don't know if it'll go on to the Peter Parker, because I mean, even Peter, like without the suit, he'll still have his spider sense. It doesn't go on there as well. You may have to stretch it. I don't know that you want to do that. If you could figure out a way to hold in place, maybe in the back of his head, but it doesn't really hold, so just a heads up on that. We get a bunch of different hands as well. So first up, these are the new thing. We get swappable forearm pieces for Spider-Man, and the only reason we have that is for these web shooter hands. The hands themselves don't have any movement to them, but the web shooter just ports right on into the forearm. So you can see there, you can just yank on that forearm, it pulls off, and then you could swap into the web shooter hands, as you can see there. So he has his web shooter exposed. You know, oftentimes in the comics it'll show he removes his gloves, and then you could kind of see his web shooter there. You can see you got the mechanism there where he uses his two fingers. So you get the right hand is the thwip hand, so you could see how that web shooter, you know, actually works. So you could see that there. So that is really cool that we got those. I think that was a big highlight of this pack and one of the cool things that they did here. We get a couple of extra hands. These ones are also really nice. So we get thwip hands with actual webs coming out of them, so you can kind of start that process, you know, of him shooting the web. So that's really cool. That's not something that we had gotten before, so it's nice to see that now. So you get the right and the left thwip hands with the web effects in there. We get the standard thwip hands as well, as you can see there. So that is good. And then one of the things on these hands is these hands have more deco hits than any previous Spider-Man hands that we've gotten, because you could see the web lines are a lot closer on the Maximum Spider-Man compared to other Spider-Man figures. We also get the wall crawling hands there. So we get all the hands that we want. So we got the thwips, we got the wall crawling hands. We also get C-grip hands, so he can grip onto the webs. So you get the grip hands there. And then, of course, on the figure itself, and we still got the forearms connected, we've got the fists. So Spider-Man comes with all the hands that we could ask for. So those are all the accessories for Spider-Man. So let's jump right into the articulation. I realized I didn't show actually like the rest of the figures, so you guys could see a close-up of kind of how everything looks. Looking at the web lines, they are much closer than any previous Spider-Man figure that we've gotten, and I've got a couple of them here, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about in terms of the web lines. So a lot more web lines on this Maximum Spider-Man. There, we get a darker blue, which is good. Lots of web lines on the boots as well, the arms and everything like that. We got the spider logo here on the back. One thing that is not really good is, and I guess it just kind of depends on how, oh, I messed this up over time. That's not good. How that spider logo is painted on the back. Like here on Amazing Fantasy, they were able to paint the spider so where it's small enough that it doesn't go onto the butterfly. Here, it was big enough on the Renew Your Vows to where it did end up on the butterfly, but the butterfly you know, they paint the legs were a little bit longer, so for the most part it would connect no matter what kind of where you moved it, although obviously not enough in there. This side, oh, funny enough, that side got like extra red paint. Why they didn't do it on this side is weird, or it just didn't quite connect it all the way. Oh, I wonder if that's an issue on just mine. Anyway, that's the Renew Your Vows. But on here, and this is not good, they like painted that spider leg, that one spider leg that ends up on the butterfly like extra long, and it just looks weird. I don't know what the answer would really be there. I see what they were going for, but it looks really, really weird. And that's definitely a complaint. Like, I don't know what the answer is. Maybe just, I don't know, because maybe just not paint the spider leg on the butterfly. You guys give me your thoughts on that, because I am curious to know, because again, it looks weird, and then it still has a break in there, and it's weird. Like, this one's even longer than that. Like, I don't know how they did it. It's weird. It's not great. But that's what's going on there. And then again, one thing is, you know, we got a lot of like wrinkles in the suit and everything like that, which is really good, as opposed to everything just being super smooth always. But there we go. Good close-up look at the front and the back of the figure. Just looks really good. Okay, so let's go over the articulation for Spider-Man. Again, the most articulated Spider-Man figure that we've gotten. So one thing that Marvel Legends typically does not do is we actually get a separate neck piece in here for Spider-Man. So not only do we have the disc hinge to where Spider-Man can look all the way up, and then he can look down all the way, you also get the movable neck piece in there, so it allows for some movement, not a huge amount, but it gets you into the pivoting of the neck, which is really good, kind of on that side to side movement that you wouldn't typically get. So that is good there. And then the neck itself can also swivel, and then you can swivel the head around, so you got all that there. The shoulder you can get to go straight on out and upwards a little bit there. Then you get a full rotation in there. You get the butterfly joint, which will allow you to get that arm to go all the way back, which is awesome. And then you can get some really good movement going forward and look at that crossbody more than anything that we had gotten in the past on a Spider-Man, so that is awesome. You got the upper bicep swivel in there. You get the double jointed pinless elbow. Gives you that much bend at the elbow. The forearms do swivel because, again, you got the swappable forearm. The shape of them is going to be a little bit different, so just keep that in mind when swiveling it around. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. Standard horizontal hinge on all of the hands, except the grip hands do actually have the vertical hinge, which is good because that's how you would want it. So think about when he's, holding on to a web line. Put this in his hand. He's holding on to the web line. You want to be able to hinge that hand up and down. So you get that hinge on there. So that's really good. We got the diaphragm cut and the inverted ab crunch there. So the tilt on Spider-Man, you could tilt to the left that much. You could tilt to the right that much there, which is good. On that diaphragm itself, you can lean Spider-Man back that much. Coming forward, you can lean him forward only that much. Not a huge amount, but that's where the ab crunch comes in. So you can crunch him forward that much. Then you can go back in total that much there. The legs have an insane drop down hip. So you can see how far down those hips will drop, which is pretty crazy. You get the legs to go out that far apart. He can kick forward extremely high. See how high you can get that leg, which is pretty crazy. You can get the leg to go back a really far amount as well. You got an upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pinless knee gives you that much bend there. You do get the calf swivel, boot swivel in there, which is nice. Foot hinges down all the way. You get hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet, and the toe articulation in there. And not only that, is the joints all just feel a lot smoother on this figure compared to any other Marvel Legends. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a Marvel Legends figure. Like, it's not, the plastic isn't any different or anything. I don't know if they just adjusted the tolerances or whatever the case may be. It does feel a little bit better. It does. So that's something to kind of keep in mind there. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy, what you can do on this figure. Like, it's kind of insane. Like the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, they can get a lot of good movements, but they can't do something like this. So yeah, this figure just has a lot of really, really, really good movement. Okay, so here we have the side-by-side comparison. We have the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. We've got the Amazing Fantasy body. This is not the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man. I actually don't know where I put that figure, so Well, you know what? I did find it, but then I already had this one. I'm like, oh, I kind of like the lighter blue on it. This is the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends 3-pack that was exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. It is the same exact body, same everything on there. It is just painted a little bit differently, but it is the same figure, so I went ahead and used it anyway. So Renew Your Vows, Amazing Fantasy, and then we've got the Maximum Series Spider-Man there. To me, the Maximum just looks better. It does. Like, you know, we don't get the big bulkiness of the Renew Your Vows. We don't kind of get the tiny of the Amazing Fantasy. We get the somewhat in between. We get the wrinkles in the suit and everything like that. It just looks a lot better. Plus, the more web lines looks a lot better, too. When you look at these, it's like, oh... You know, and now comparing them, like at the time without this, I'm like, oh yeah, those look good. But then when you have this, it's like, oh yeah, that's way better with the additional web lines. So hopefully any other Spider-Man going forward will have more web lines. I doubt it. You know, like you can't really trust Hasbro to do anything like that, right? They're going to give us something like these over here. But yeah, it's just a big difference in the pure aesthetic of the figure that just looks so much better. And then in terms of like articulation, right? Let's see. I guess Renew Your Vows did kind of hold up a little bit in there when kind of doing that. But you know, Amazing Fantasy does get a little bit more movement. I don't know why I'm doing it into this pose to kind of get that, to do that. It's kind of weird. But definitely you could see the legs come up way more on, you know, the Maximum Series Spider-Man in comparison to like Renew Your Vows. And then even compared to the Amazing Fantasy, which, you know, at the time, you know, was really good. You just get a lot more range on the Maximum Series Spider-Man compared to the other ones. And the other ones aren't bad figures by any means. I don't want anybody to think that that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make here. It's just not as good as the Maximum Series Spider-Man. So while Renew Your Vows, I think, is still a very, very, very good figure, it's not the best representation of Spider-Man anymore. And then the Amazing Fantasy, while it's still a very, very good figure, it's not the best representation of Spider-Man anymore. I think the winner clearly goes to the Maximum Series, but you guys let me know down in the comments below, which one do you like the most? Okay, so like getting Spider-Man to crouch down is kind of insane. Like you can actually get him to do it, which is pretty incredible. Like it's wild how much movement you can really get out of this Spider-Man figure. So pretty awesome to be able to do that. Okay, trying out a couple of different poses while I still had him crouched down a little bit. He can kind of, you know, still while crouching down, kind of get his thwip on, start to, you know, and picture this as a rooftop. Maybe that would make a little bit more sense. But you can kind of get ready to thwip and swing out. One thing that I didn't actually realize before, but this web effect does have a peg hole, so you can use this stand on there as well. But I think we run into a lot of complications here with the stand, and it's just simply not tall enough. Because either he shoots his web down, and then you can kind of get it to make sense a little bit based on where you have your hand, or Spider-Man's always like crouching down low, getting into some web shooting, and then you can kind of get it to make sense if that, like, you know, there. But he's not always going to be crouching down to kind of do that. So I think the stand, while it's cool, I think it just doesn't stand up tall enough. I think it should be, you know, a little bit higher, because again, otherwise you have to get Spider-Man crouched down pretty low to be able to start using the to start thwipping, shooting his web. Well, I can't. Hold on, he's starting to slow down. So I got him gripping the web, and I like that it's flexible enough that, you know, it can curve with the hand, no problem. So you could just have a lot of fun, like even if you have him hanging from something, you could kind of do it, or, you know, web swing, however you want to do it, but it's a lot of fun. Okay, so here I obviously had to use the help of, you know, a Hasbro Pulse flight stand to get, you know, Spider-Man into some web slinging poses there, but yep, continued fun for sure. Okay, so like here's another one, and then this one actually got me to discover that both these web lines are not exactly the same. You can see how this one has this little end piece here, whereas this one just kind of has a little stub end there. So the two web lines are not exactly the same, and I don't really understand why they would have sculpted two different ones. Why not just give us the same one twice? Like, why put the resources into that? Why not put the resources into something else, like 100% new parts for Hulk, or, you know, just spitballing an example. I mean, you know, I don't know how these decisions get made and how that all works. It is all kind of funky and weird, but again, I'm loving this Spider-Man, having a lot of fun with it. Okay, that's it for the fun with the stand, because I just kind of cracked my Hasbro Pulse flight stand and trying to move it around and tilt it in a way that it was not supposed to be able to tilt. But I had a lot of fun with this with this figure. Again, it's definitely hands down the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure to date. Hopefully it is the absolute most definitive version, and one that if you buy this, you're not going to need another Spider-Man figure. Whether you want another Spider-Man figure is going to be a whole different thing. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this figure? And again, I understand it. If you think $50 is just too much for this figure, you have every right to think that way. I get it. I completely understand. $40 would have been a much better price for this guy. But $50 is a lot. I personally see the value in it, but you guys may not, and that's fine. You guys let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of people are passing on this figure, and that's perfectly fine. You know, Hasbro will either see sales are really good, or sales are not very good, and they will have to make adjustments going forward, whether that's you know, offering something at a lower price but maybe less accessories, or whatever the case may be. You know, I don't know, but you guys give me your true honest opinions down in the comments below. Try to be civil. I know I've gotten a lot of hate recently. It's almost kind of funny, because there just seems to be a lot of negativity in the community. And it sucks, man. It sucks. It's sad that so many people are just bashing on things, hating on everything, and then hating on the people that just like the figures or are excited about them or looking forward to them. If you're not and you don't like them, that's fine too. Don't hate on people that do like them, is what I'm trying to say, right? You can voice your opinions. I'm not going to say just don't buy it and just be quiet. Like, you voice your opinions all you guys want, but don't get mad at somebody else for liking something. Right? It's like nobody's going to get mad at you for not liking something well, I say that, but you know what? There is definitely some of that going on. So I just wish that everybody would let people have their own opinions, whether they like something, whether they hate something. Just don't hate on somebody for liking something, and then don't hate on somebody for hating something, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. It should be kind of a two-way street. But give me your guys' honest feedback, honest opinions on this Spider-Man figure. To me, it's the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure that you can get. If you can get it on sale, that would be even better, but I don't know if it's going to stick around for sales. But you guys let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out toysnowman.com.